I'm going to open this meeting of the Bisbee Arts Commission on Monday, August 7th at 5:33 p.m. Call it to order. Let's do the roll call.
Karen Schumacher.
Present.
Marie Minor is excused. Sharon Stetter.
Present.
Poe Dismuke.
Present.
Jill Maxwell.
Present.
Kelly Galligan. Kay Drew Wilkinson.
Present.
Bill Higgins.
Oh, there's
Present.
Present.
Just as we were saying her name, she arrived. All right, so first off, we're going to start with the call to the public. I don't think that we have anybody on there. Right, Ms. Nina?
No.
And so I'm gonna be moving item 4 and item 5 after item 1 tonight, just so that you guys don't have to stay through the whole meeting. But we're gonna start along with item 1, approval of the minutes of July 12th, 2017 meeting. Does anybody have anything to add, or do I hear a motion?
Accept the minutes. I motion to accept the minutes.
There's the whole shebang.
Approve of the minutes of the July 12th, 2017 meeting.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
All ayes?
Aye.
Any nays? All right, we're approved. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to item 4, discussion and possible action regarding sponsorship in the amount of $300 to the Central School Project 2017 Make Youth Festival and Youth Arts Program. So we have Lori McKinney here tonight to speak about that. It is important to note that that has already occurred, so she can explain how that would work.
Well,
You have to, sorry, Lori.
that's all right. I don't know. You put it on YouTube.
It's just for public, you have to speak through it for public record.
Oh, I understand perfectly. Well, actually, at the time of giving that application, I assume I didn't know what the date that it would arrive on your table or on your agenda.
Mhm.
It could, I guess we have to go with that because that's what it says in print, but it could be for the fiscal year 2017-18,
Mhm.
if, now that it's happening. But the main reason that months ago that I put in the request was we received less funding than we usually do from the Women's Club didn't really do funding as they have basically for 8 years, and we received less funding from Bisbee Foundation, and of course I don't begrudge that at all because things are blossoming in our community. Lots of efforts going to money going to many good efforts, but it would help with the 2017 straightening that out, or applying it to the 2018 Make Fest.
Was this the amount of money that you used to get from the?
Yeah, for 8 years, we got this, basically, we would apply for and get the same funding from Women's Club and Bisbee Foundation.
Have you
So-
been getting money from the BAC also?
In the past, we have, yes, but there wasn't like a grant round that,
Okay.
And it's important to note that one of the reasons why we have these two people here too is that we, as a commission, decided to postpone grants because the art auction was taking up a lot of our time. So these are two organizations that we usually do fund in some
Mhm.
capacity. So instead of taking the grant route, because that's not till October, they're asking for sponsorship instead. So
yeah. Yeah.
just for the public, and you don't have to go into great detail, we just give a short explanation of what Make is.
Yeah, it's this coming year will be the 9th annual Children's Art Festival celebrating youth arts, and it's a completely free all-day event for art making and art exhibition for kids, ages 4 to 18. Generally, we serve 4 to 15, and so there's 18 to 20 workstations and all the art supplies for making art all day with kids is supplied, and the artists get a stipend of $50, or they can waive it. It has been that more than half more than half get the artist stipend of $50. So for instance, this past year it was $550 in artist stipends, and for supplies it was budgeted at about $1,000, and it was actually $1,200 because of the types of projects that we did, and the increase of prices on materials, I noticed this year. So,
What kind of projects?
excuse me?
What kind of projects?
That's a very wide, broad scope of art making, from sculptural to drawing, painting,
Stenciling.
stenciling,
sewing.
every, you know,
Okay.
more than I can possibly name. Snow globes.
20 different things.
Yeah.
Snow globes.
And the exhibition is also really critical because it's the one time when hundreds of kids are exhibiting their art in the gallery, and we coordinate with the Bisbee Unified School District, Montessori School, the Copper Queen Library art making programs that they have in that year, which they did, and we also have performances, and again the children are performing, and we hire performance as well, and you know this year the high school band played, and again monologue and script writers from the library program performed their work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any
Any
other
other
questions for
questions?
Lori, or do you guys want to just?
No, I don't. Can we move this to vote on it or sponsor it?
You
or-
can move it whenever you want to move it.
Well, I move to sponsor this and give them their $300.
We see the whole agenda item,
Hmm?
not the discussion. I move to sponsor in the amount
I
of.
move to sponsor the amount of $300 to the Central School Project for the Make Youth Festival and Youth Arts.
For the
Program.
2017.
For 2017, so is it for
And then-
2017?
So it'd be
or-
paying whatever they don't have, whatever void they had in their accounting.
Oh, for
Yeah,
this year,
yeah.
not for next year?
Yeah.
For
And-
2017, okay.
And then next year it'll be back to being a grant.
Next year, we're still discussing how we're gonna do with that. It could be a sponsorship again. So
Okay.
with something that we have often done, so.
Yeah, I think we should do that also.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Can we have a roll call on this?
Karen Schumacher,
I abstain. Cause
Oh, right,
I am
right.
connected to Central School.
Right.
Sharon Stetter,
I agree that we should do it as sponsored.
Poe Dismuke,
I vote to sponsor it.
Jill Maxwell,
Yes.
Kelly Galligan, Kay Drew Wilkinson,
Yup.
So it passes unanimously. Thank you so much for Lori. And then just for a clarification, it will have to go
Yes,
through the council, so it'll be probably a few weeks to a month before you get your check.
All right.
All right, moving on to item 5, discussion and possible action regarding sponsorship in the amount of $1,000 to KBRP for the 2017 Bisbee Blues Festival. Mr. Ryan Bruce, would you like to speak? Oh yeah, Kelly, because now we're on YouTube, we're all trying to speak louder.
Okay.
We don't know how it's gonna work.
Good evening. Sure. The 13th Annual Blues Festival is taking place on September 9th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And this year, we actually have 2 events. So just let me take a quick step back. The first 2 years that we did this, we actually received sponsorship from the BAC in the amount of $1,000 or more. Actually, I believe the first year was $2,000. And the idea was that the sponsorship made more sense because the BAC got something from it. Not only the ability to have all the logos on all of the marketing materials, but also played a role in those years with the Blues Village, which takes place on Sunday, which is more of a family-oriented event. The last 2 years, we've received grant funds. Actually, let me take that back. The last year, I think the last grant round, we received grant funds, and quite a bit less than we had that we had previously received it, when it was for sponsorship purposes. And obviously, for those of you who were on the council at that time, there were a lot of requests in the grant round for all of that. So I actually spoke to the fact of taking less money so that everybody could be funded, because there seemed to be some consternation as to how to fund that on the dais. We're really in a situation here that 2 of the events of the 3 events we do don't really make money, but I think that they're important things that we do. Of course, the Blues Village is something that we've done for 4 years, and this will be the 4th year. First 2 years took place at Central School, and then the last year and this year will take place at the Royale. Musical performances, workshops, and we just try to have sort of this day that it's accessible for people that don't just want to come and listen to loud music and get rowdy. So lots of kids, lots of families, lots of people from NACO and AP who come, because it also happens to fall on Mexican Independence Day or near Mexican Independence Day. So what we usually try to do is invite the Mexican consulate to the event, and they bring people who can also perform to kind of take this traditional American art form and put it together with the fact that we are so close to the border. On Friday, and I guess this is why this is so pertinent this year, we've done different things. One year we focused on Native American blues. This previous year we actually focused on film because we had an unreleased documentary of one of the performers and his family that we just thought was something really special, and then had performances after that. But this year we're dedicating it to Buzz, obviously, since he has passed, and also was involved those first 3 years when it was a BAC event. So Friday night is a little loose as far as a actual schedule at this point, but I'm working with Kathleen Pearson and Pat Panther and the family to try to find some good performances that would go along with some of the other stuff we're doing. We're actually going to show one of the versions, one of the segments of the PBS documentary, The Blues, which was actually done by Wim Wenders, and it's about old blues, but also it talks about sort of the soul part of blues. And I thought that that was pertinent with regards to sort of having a night dedicated to Buzz. So that's why we're asking for sponsorship. That is one of our levels. That is the smallest level of sponsorship that we have with regards to sponsorship for the Blues Festival. Obviously, a lot of the other organizations tend to be local businesses or companies that have also invested in it. But we would really love to continue to have a partnership with the BAC.
Does anybody have any questions?
So the money is being spread to pay for all kinds of things?
Yeah, it's mostly on the days that we don't have a revenue source. So on Friday we make a little bit of money. Sunday's usually a loss for us. But those are the days that we're able to pay workshop leaders, pay performers, and usually local performers to perform. So people, hopefully that, a large portion of our audience is obviously from out of town. So they also get to see that. Last year, for instance, Roman Barton Sherman played, and I was able to give them him a stipend. And also it just brought in all of these people who had a Tucson connection to the event as well.
And with that kind of sponsorship at $1,000 level, will there be anything on the poster that says Bisbee Arts Mission?
Yeah, and to be quite honest with you, we've done that every year, even when it was a grant, in that we felt that it was important to give credit for the funding that has come from the BAC. So yeah, and we would, encourage you guys to give us a banner so we can put it up, and if somebody from the BAC would like to come and talk what you guys do in between bands, we'd also encourage that on Saturday where there's a lot of people there.
What are the exact dates of the Bisbee Blues
8,
Festival?
9, and 10, that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of September.
Okay.
So it's about a month away.
So, anybody else have any questions for Ray?
Actually, have.
Do you have a question? Go for it.
Yeah, on Saturday, it's gonna be in City Park.
Yes, sir.
Pardon me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a lot of questions have been asked about that, and we're really committed at this point for a number of reasons that are probably not necessary to articulate here. But one of the things that we're really committed to doing also is not making this into an enormous cattle call where we're wanting to bring all of these people to Bisbee, but not considering the impact that has on the state of affairs here. And obviously, because of the majority of businesses and hotels being in Old Bisbee, it just makes a lot more sense also for liability purposes. But we don't shut down any streets, and we've even talked in the past about shutting down Taylor, which is still a possibility, but we haven't asked for it for this year.
Does anybody have any more questions for Ryan?
What kind of workshops?
So we've done everything from dance to instrument making, recording, songwriting, singing. We try to keep it somewhat focused around music, but it's, every so often I get sort of an interesting request to do. Last year we did a couple of really great things with the blues wizard, Keith Kiefer. He actually we bought materials for him to allow the kids to make instruments, and they actually went out and had a parade down Main Street, and unlicensed parade, but a parade nonetheless. They stay on the sidewalk.
It's
Right?
okay when it's kids.
And then last year also we had our MC that's come down every year from Choya High School, who conducts the blues band down up there. Also did a really awesome blues history class, talking about of the entire span of history, but then he took some individual places in blues that he thought were really important and talked about that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
And I would just like to say on a personal level, I think that, I hope Brian doesn't mind me saying this, but because of what happened with the Bisbee Festival kind of getting knocked out of its position because of the city placing the Sonoran Festival there, I do feel like it's important to support KVRP. So I hope that, to offer you some sort of olive branch, because I think the interaction between the BAC and the KVRP is really important. So you and Central School are two of the most important art organizations, so it makes sense to have a good relationship with the city and with you,
I have a question, which, I really don't know if this is out of place, but, when we have these grants, like we were doing the 300 over there and we were doing the 1,000 here, knowing what we know about our situation, is there any point in increasing it? I mean, $1,000 is not going to go very far.
But as a small, we're
You
just
get
not.
other grants or other sponsorship.
We
And that's
do.
what we're doing is sponsorships with the organizations right now because we didn't have a grant cycle, and that's why our grant cycle is only going to be for artists, probably citizens, and so this is their chance.
Okay.
What I'd like to do in the future is offer all organizations that have an art project the chance to ask for a sponsorship and come present instead of getting into our grant cycle, because we just don't have a lot of money in our grant
Makes
cycle.
sense.
Sure.
So this is kind of a loophole that I think is good for organizations, so. But yeah, and we have to keep track, but if we were, so even spending $10,000 a year is getting a little extreme for us. But we did very well this year, so I feel personally very good about both of these prospects, so. Does anybody else have anything else to add? Do we have a motion?
Well, I'll motion that we sponsor the KVRP Bisbee Blues Festival with $1,000. Continue to do that, yes.
For the 2017 Bisbee Blues Festival. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Can we do a roll call on this as well?
Karen Schumacher,
Aye.
Sharon Stetter,
Aye.
Hodges Muke,
Aye.
Jill Maxwell,
Aye.
Kelly Galligan,
Aye.
Kate Drew Wilkinson.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
And I'll get with you about the graphics or whatever.
Sure, and also,
Changing.
please, as we've had an opportunity to do with some other organizations, even though I have a problem calling some of those organizations back, like the Cowboy Shelter. She's not listening.
She didn't hear you.
But I'd also offer that if there's a way that we can work with the BAC to help generate additional revenue by doing an event at the Royale, we'd certainly be willing and able to do that.
That's great, and that's great.
That's
to hear.
wonderful. We
We'd be
wanted
very
to-
interested in that.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the ideas I think we talked about was perhaps having, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip now. A lot of the blues musicians come in a day or two before, may would be possible to have some kind of fundraiser before the Blues Festival in maybe a local venue or the Royale, of just sort of where people could kind of preview some of the people who are gonna play that weekend. And I think, I can't speak for everybody, but I think the BAs, we would be interested in collaborating somehow,
Well,
in something like
That
that.
sounds great to us, so.
yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Same thing with Lori, it's gonna be, you know how it works, it has to go through council.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like money bags tonight.
I love that.
Right?
Doesn't it feel good to spend a little money?
It feels good to, those things are fairly easy, so.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back to item 2, all of you. Election of the vice chair. We tabled this last time because nobody wanted to be the vice chair that was here. I would just like to say, if for some reason I were to pass away, someone has to be.
We will all resign.
We don't think that's really
We'll
funny,
prop
by the
you
way.
up.
Yeah,
None of
somebody-
us thinks
They'll
that's
prop
funny.
you up and pretend you're there.
When I leave Bisbee, you know, when I run away, somebody's gonna have to run the meeting. It's nice to have. I don't think it's a big job. It really is fairly simple. It looks good on your resume if you want to get a job in the arts. Yeah,
If you want to get other volunteer jobs.
yeah. If you want to get you all the volunteer jobs. So I can say a name, but I prefer one of you to actually nominate someone else. Because I'm going to nominate out of anger. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Well,
What is it?
I have a nomination. Sharon Stetter.
I do too. Sharon Stetter, I'm afraid. I know she doesn't want it, but you know.
Don't be.
It's not a matter of not wanting, I just don't want to let anybody down in the event that I overbook myself. But
Right.
being that Karen isn't going to leave, and
Hopefully not pass away.
You can
and
feel
she's not
safe.
going, we're not going to let her pass away, therefore, I can feel safe. And yes, I'll be happy to work with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
great.
sorry that I didn't offer
No,
last
no, I
time.
understand. You do leave a lot. You have to leave town often, and
Yes.
but it's not. I
Don't want to
think-
be a failure at it.
Yeah, no. I don't think anybody is on this commission has been a failure at anything. So, do we have a motion?
I would.
Right? Is that
second the motion.
essentially it's the same thing? Okay, yeah, go for
Roll
it.
call?
So, but you have to say.
What am I saying?
I motion for.
I motion to vote for Sharon Stetter for the vice chair for the Bisbee Arts Commission.
And do we have a second?
Yes, I second that.
And
All
I'll
right.
second it also.
So all ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
all nays, any nays? So, but it moves unanimously. So that was easy. Okay. Any
Does that
nays?
mean we get to take a vacation together? Does the board pay? Just kidding.
That's true. We're gonna have a retreat. Retreat at a
Karen and
massage.
I will be busy.
Wow.
No, just kidding.
A
Just kidding,
sponsor-
YouTube.
A sponsored vacation.
And that actually is something at some point that I won't go into depth because I'm off the item, but we can actually have some sort of retreat if we wanted to. If we, or are we on it?
And I have a location for it.
Yeah,
Oh, this sounds great.
as long as it doesn't involve too much alcohol, I suppose. All right, moving on. Item 3, discussion and possible action regarding revised application for grant funding. Did anybody
Read
have
that.
anything they wanted to add? I asked the people who were here last time to look over it. I admit full-heartedly, I admit I'm not finished. This month has been pretty busy. I have it on my computer. I'm still doing it. So what I told Nina is that I actually have it done the next week or so. And what I would like to do is send it to Nina and have her send it to all of you, and then you guys can look over it for any final edits. Would that be okay? Unless somebody has something really big. For those of you who weren't here last time, one of the main things about it that we were changing is that, kind of what I mentioned to Ryan Bruce, we're no longer opening it up to organizations. So if you were an organization and you want you need money for, same thing, you need to write a proposal like they did and send it to us, and it'll come that way. The reason is because we only give 5,000 away. It comes down to like $500 a piece if we do 10, and that doesn't really go very far for most organizations, in my opinion. I mean, Lori only wanted 4, but most of the time they want a whole lot more. They need a whole lot more. And I don't want any organization to rely on this small-time grants, you know? It just doesn't make sense. I think that our money is better spent giving it to the local artists that have projects, so that's just my opinion. If any of you disagree, you're welcome to, but.
No, I agree.
So I would like to table the action regarding this. So I'll
Let
send.
me, can I
Oh,
clarify
yeah,
something,
please.
that we were discussing dropping this whole merit-based art funding thing? Yeah, and then we're just talking about this application, the artist.
No, we're keeping
Just
this, but we're renaming
renaming
it because
it,
it's a
okay.
terrible merit-based
Yeah,
art funding.
that's right.
It sounds like
Okay.
a
Okay.
procedure they do on you.
Yeah,
But
okay.
for the now, the one that involves have you guys looked at the art and monuments in public space? It's really confusing.
That's the one that was,
You
yeah.
need to get,
What, how come I don't have a
You
copy?
You weren't here last week.
Oh,
but it got sent to you in your email.
I did.
Yeah, you can check it. But I'll send you the revised one. But the arts and monuments,
Public
I had
space.
never, it's really hard for people because you have to get city council approval and designer review board approval before you even come to us and ask for money, and I haven't, people,
For what?
for arts and
For
monuments in
monuments.
public spaces.
Public-
Like
Well,
say,
I'm confused, what does that mean?
just, you wanna build a monument to yourself in City Park, right? You can't just come to us and ask for money, you have to go
Through the city and
designer
get it.
review board first, and they have to approve it, and then you have to go to the city, and they have to approve it, and then you come to us.
Right, but the city can do whatever they want, like put up silly mining cars
That's a
Figure out.
whole other,
okay.
no, and I have been talking to the mayor about hopefully incorporating us more in that.
So, well, why is that even in there? As far as I know, there has never been a case for has somebody actually gone to the city and
Have you, do
Put
you
up a
remember anybody?
public monument?
The last grant cycle in which I was not on the commission, somebody came and had filled out an application. They hadn't gone through the city or the designer review board, and so it was thrown out.
And they wanted to put a public something
I
up?
think they wanted to paint a mural, but that's, one of the problems is that people don't understand the procedure. Like, they thought that if they came to us and we gave them money, they could just go paint the mural. But it's not that simple, so we need to think of a way, I
Mhm.
feel like it's almost, it would be better in the same way like a sponsorship. Like, somebody comes to us and they say, I wanna build this really cool thing, then we can walk them through the process, right?
If we decide we wanna.
If we wanna help them.
So did those
It
two
would be the
pieces outside
BAC
the
first, then the design review board, and then.
Yeah.
I think that's a better
that-
order of things.
Because often people come and ask me, for,
I mean,
it's
the
just
two
out.
pieces that went outside the museum, were they in this game?
No, the pieces that went outside the museum including the Bendale Pagoda, or
Right.
whatever architectural term, those were chosen by Carrie Gustafson in the museum because they rent that space.
Okay.
And so that's a weird loophole too, so they actually govern what they want that to look like. Other spaces, I mean, I would love for somebody to come and ask us, but we need to find a different procedure, so I didn't
And
even touch that.
Yes, I think that idea of going through us before it goes to the city and the design review just makes more sense in walking them through the process. We walk through the process
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah, because then we would have some input and as
Yeah.
an opinion about what
Okay, so that one's the
Yeah,
this is the one that's
we
getting.
support, which we
Taste.
haven't had in the past, and we need this other stuff.
Right, and one of our jobs, I think, to some degree, I don't wanna go crazy with this, is to help the public figure out how to do those kind of things. Like, even the flow chart would help, like, it's just really complicated for a lot of people to understand how government works, even local government, so. It's something to think
Yeah.
about.
You might wanna call Donald Trump, I think he could use a little help.
I think Chico's the
Mm.
man to bring something in that moves.
That would be fantastic, yeah, I don't know if we can probably never fund him, but,
He's just come back from Prague, he's
Mm.
ready.
is it okay though if we table that and go
Yep,
through the way
yep,
that
yep.
that's the best
Do
thing,
you
I'm
wanna
sorry
bring
I
it
didn't
back
get
up
it
at
done.
the next meeting?
Yeah, and I'll have it ready, and then we can vote on it then. For those of you that weren't unaware, our grant cycle is now in October, and it ends on Halloween,
Whoa.
yeah. So I think,
The application period ends on Halloween. Okay.
and then we vote on it, I think we go through the next time. We'll probably have to have a special meeting just to, we need an executive session to talk. What I learned from, the reason I joined the BAC is because they didn't have one, so they were like, it's just really confusing. So we should probably have a special session and go into executive session about, what we think, without anybody feeling like they're intimidated by being on camera, and then go from there, and we'll be able to.
Yeah. Oh, easy.
And so how are we putting the word out that the grant applications are mean to be,
When it opens, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it in the newspaper, we can also put flyers up and all
yeah, I
that.
know we discussed it, but just for those who weren't here.
Oh, okay, yeah. And if anybody has any other ways, I can write a column about it. Just write columns out. No. So, yeah, this is good, okay. So we're gonna table that, we don't have to vote on that, right?
Nope.
Item 6, discussion regarding future fundraising sponsorships for the Bisbee Arts Commission. That's one that's been on there a couple of times. Anybody have anything they wanna talk about?
I was going to find out what this application with the city, with the, and I have not done it, there was something on my, to get a permit for, on Main Street, just to figure out what that would be if we decided to do the meal on Main Street.
Right.
Which I have not done because we were still just discussing it as a possibility of things to do.
I think it's hot.
It's, I can tell you because I have a meeting tomorrow with the
Okay.
city
Yes, you do.
for a special permit.
Yeah.
You go and fill out the application, then you are called in for a meeting with the city. And there'd probably be the city manager and maybe somebody from the fire department, and I don't know who else will be there, but it's
Right.
pretty straight. Yeah.
And
yeah.
until we
Probably.
know what date we wanna do such an event, is kind of putting the cart before the horse, but thank you,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's.
We
pretty
need to-
straightforward, and then after that, it goes to the city council, I believe, for approval.
Consent agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we need
so-
to nail a date.
We did, and just because you guys weren't here last time, just to catch you up, one of the ideas that people were very enthusiastic about is, we didn't want to have an art auction every year, because that would kill us. But the idea of having at night a dinner on Main Street
Yeah, I remember sharing
Okay,
that a
cool,
few months
cool.
ago. I thought it was a
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with all
we
the top
love that
tents we
idea.
could ever want.
Yeah.
So I don't understand this event. It's a meal, and where
No.
does art come in? Are the galleries
A
open?
theme,
And the
perhaps?
people at the meal?
Well,
attend the
there's
galleries?
so many different ways that it could be dealt with, and that's what we were talking about. One of the, it truly is just a fundraising event for the BAC, so we charge, per person, or we maybe even have a table price, people can sponsor a whole table for a certain amount of money.
Mhm.
But then there'll be local artists will be invited to create the centerpieces perhaps, that would be one way
Mhm.
of, and then those
That's what we
pieces
talked
are
about.
For sale,
auctioned off or
yeah,
for sale or whatever however we decide to do it. And then because we are the BAC, I think we should also have some performance art as part of the evening. I think that we should have, I think there's things we should
Much
do
grace.
as a Bisbee Arts Commission that involves all of the,
Yes.
Yeah,
arts
I actually,
organizations,
I
if we
just
can.
thought of another thing we could do. We spoke about,
all the
when we
ones
were
that are
brainstorming about ideas, a kite festival. Maybe we could have artists paint kites and we could string them across the
Cross
streets of
Center
the
Street.
town.
That'd be
That'd
good.
be
That's a pretty
beautiful.
idea.
People could buy,
Yes.
could put on kites.
Oh, that'd be
or-
beautiful,
or buy it.
fantastic, yeah.
But,
And we can buy them,
Yeah.
I've been doing some research, we can buy kites really cheaply, like $2 or $3 a
The
piece.
paper kites, and then you paint
Yeah,
them.
they're Kevlar, but they're paintable, and,
That's
and
a
all
very
we have
lovely
to do
idea.
is
That's
we
a
can just
lovely
hand them
idea.
out to artists if they agreed to paint one and put it up for.
What a great idea, yeah,
Totally.
fun,
It's a
so
great
just fun,
idea.
Yeah.
something that's just really
Wall
fun, and
hangings
then
and
it's really
everything.
just about, getting the people who sponsor the art, the patrons of the arts of our community and the artists together for an evening.
And
of-
you
Yeah.
mentioned last week, and so every time I'm there in the evening, I see it. The lights that are already up, it just will be really charming with everything
Yeah.
underneath it.
Yeah, and we could, I think if we make it really, really fun and elegant and somehow make it clear that this is a fundraiser, I think people will give. And also have these things that they can buy too.
Right.
I think having a few of our major artists speak, or, having some artists speak about
Mhm.
what it is they
Mhm.
do and about the community.
Educational aspect to it, absolutely.
So it would be a whole shebang of different things. And I like the idea of having performers sort of interacting,
Or a fashion show or something.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
so
a
many
theme-
different ideas
even
that could be
a-
fun.
A theme, a clothing theme.
So do we wanna discuss a date with the
Yes.
idea of kites? I love that.
The
Spring-
first thing would be a date,
Yeah.
yeah, and then we
So
can go
March.
from there.
It's too
Well-
windy in April.
Yeah,
But they will blow
God,
away.
Yeah, April's been.
And March
April's
is kind of
been
nice.
terrible. March is kind of iffy too, yeah.
The weather's
Um,
iffy.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe that would be key to make sure the weather is, because if the weather's bad, it's not gonna be fun.
But we could have a backup plan if we had to.
The Royale.
Yeah.
They offered.
Right.
I'm thinking, think that, you know, the art auction worked okay on a very short period of time, but it was a real push. I think something like May, because then we're getting out of any potential of cold
Wind.
weather.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
And that would
it's-
give us
it's gonna-
far more time. And so,
It's gonna require a lot of planning, I think.
so the next agenda, we would vote on the date
Okay.
and then we move from there. Because once we have we vote on a date and then we make a budget and we have to get that budget approved by council and we can kind of move from there, I think is the way the
So we
procedure
can work
works.
backwards
Start
from the date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need, somebody needs to be willing to check and see what else is going on in the month of May in Bisbee and what we're competing with, because we always are stacked up against other things. That's just a fact here.
Yeah.
We could do the same date as it was the art auction, May 8th.
Mhm.
Oh, that's a good
That's
idea.
it.
We just steal the first weekend of every May.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Keep it.
Let me see what May 8 looks like
Okay, that sounds good.
I don't know. I
year
mean,
2018.
what were you gonna say, Bill?
I had a question, maybe for Kelly. What kind of, you know, like, say we charged $100 a ticket,
Or 120, or, yeah.
or 120, you say, something like that.
Right.
You know, for, to cater, like, say, how many people we're thinking that we could do 100 people?
100 people.
100 people at $120 is good. Is there a local caterer that could,
Oh, I think we
That-
could
that could-
involve several of our
Yeah,
restaurants
like
locally.
we did at the
That's
art
what I
would
auction.
say.
One
We should
person
stretch
does
it
the
around.
salads, one person
oh,
does
so,
it, yeah.
you break it up like that?
Yeah,
And they
and,
did.
the
That's what I
one
would
thing,
think.
the one thing that we're gonna have to check with is, there are certain, businesses on Main Street
That may not like this.
that may complain, so maybe we should do some
It's only at night.
footwork and ask. you know,
I was
I
thinking
can't
of,
imagine there's one, can you?
let me give you the
well,
dates
imagine
in
there's
May.
one.
Depends,
There's one, I can think of one, but
there's
that's it.
a couple that I can think of,
Oh, no.
but. You want me to,
Oh,
you want me to say it in the microphone?
Would anybody then volunteer to go around and sort of get a feeling?
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay, that's a perfect job for you.
Yeah. So get a
You
feeling of
charm
what they say.
I will.
And
What,
see.
and what day of the week it should be, then we can discuss
yeah.
the
I'll discuss
date.
the whole thing.
Because maybe if it's on Sunday evening, that's not gonna
Well,
interfere with too
what
many
day of the week
businesses.
is the 8th, by the way?
It's a Tuesday.
Oh, that's it, yeah. It could be just the
but
first
we can-
weekend.
The
move
6th
it.
is a Sunday.
Yeah,
or it could
maybe
be-
It should be a
Sunday.
week, it should be at least one of the weekend days.
And
now,
that,
but-
and also they're gonna wanna know how long we're gonna need to close the street.
And that's something
And
we
where,
would,
where it stretches from, you know, there's gonna have to be
Yes.
measurements of tables and, you know,
Even-
if there's a table, if they're all tables for 10.
well, if they shut down
They'd have to
part of Main
close it
Street,
for
they
the
gotta shut
post
the whole
office.
part
Yeah,
too,
they've
so
gotta
you're not
shut
gonna
the
be able
whole
to.
turn off.
They've gotta shut
You
down
know,
the
Yes,
street,
I
so,
think so.
yes.
That's where you have to do, because of where the
Because we
traffic
would wanna
comes,
have
yeah.
performance people, and we wanna use that whole space. I know it's a lot, but
No, she's right, Kelly's right, it closes off from the post office basically to
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
corner where
turn
the-
of the corner.
right.
Yes, you have to close
Yeah.
it.
But we're talking primarily in the evening, which most of the businesses are not open, so.
Well, yeah, if we do.
But we'd have to decorate at some point beforehand. If you had dinner at 6, for instance, I would assume that you'd be shut down. That's a public works question. We'd have to ask them how long that would take to set up
And
tables.
And actually,
Oh, well, they won't know about that, we would have to tell them
Yeah.
how long.
question, relevant to the weather
Mhm.
and relevant to Memorial Day,
Mhm.
we do have, I mean, obviously, we're not gonna have dinner if everybody's freezing cold. But if there's any kind of, you know, we've got our awnings, we've got little blue awnings, go all the way down the street, we've got them.
Well, we also have, thanks to the city's recent purchase, we have more pop tents than we could ever.
That's what I
We,
mean.
so we're good on pop, that could be a
it'll
backup.
be fine. I
Yeah.
think
But
it's
I
gonna be
mean, it's
really
good to
fun.
know.
May is a good month, yeah.
May is a good month. And I think that if we involve the community shops on, merchants on Main Street ahead of time, to make it like, even though it's only gonna be, we're only gonna have this event on Sunday, perhaps we decorate, you know,
Well,
on
we have-
Thursday, and it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like the and, you know,
And
it
you know,
just.
we have the
But we're only
stores,
shutting down
Shop,
for one day.
and shop
yeah.
windows could even put kites in the windows and.
and also,
we
you
can
know,
also-
a lot of, I want to say that a lot of stores, including mine, have, you know, storage for a short period of time. A lot of things can be
Put away.
there ready just to come out.
Right.
I was gonna say we could offer local businesses that are there, if we're shutting it down, the opportunity to put out a table and sell while we have dinner, you know? So maybe there's a way to make
Perhaps,
them
yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
you know? I mean, obviously, we don't want
It'd
them.
be beautiful.
Mainly it's
Some-
about including them.
Yeah.
There's-
It's
Some
a
of them
bigger-
cannot be made happy.
But it is also an important thing is that we should
Fair point.
probably offer gallery owners, you know, an opportunity to interact as well in some capacity, you know?
Well, I think we have to think it out more clearly before I start up the street.
Yeah, let's wait on that until we, let me.
Yeah,
you know,
there's a
Yeah,
lot
we
to
gotta-
do.
we need to find out what
We
else
need
is
paper,
going
we
on.
we need a yummy thing
Let's,
to get
next,
sounded out.
we need to come up with a, does anybody wanna start working on a budget?
We could work together on it.
I think we should
Because I don't
spend some
understand.
money on this and have, make it really nice.
We had 30, BAC had $30,000 last year, and now they only have 100.
Well,
Because we had so
we
much.
take our model from the Snort Fest.
They can come after
Build
us.
it and they'll
If we
come.
can't lose money on it, why should we do it?
We're on YouTube now, so, you know.
Make your
maybe
apologies known.
No, I like, we're the free
Can't wait to watch
commission.
this episode.
That is gonna get us, okay.
All right.
We are very joyful as a commission, though, and I appreciate that. So, next time, can I email you a date, and we can put that on the next agenda? And that'll be the next thing we vote on.
Maybe we could break up into cells of people. Maybe some people work on like logistics tables and space and how much it's going to take.
Absolutely.
Maybe people can work on the food, some on the entertainment, some of the
Much like
art.
we did with the
Like we did,
auction,
yeah.
I work on the vibe.
Vibe.
The vibe.
We're far enough ahead right now. Yeah, I think it's important to break up. And sorry, so before the next meeting, everybody think about what they want to do, because that's the main thing. Is it?
It's still very open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we should, I would recommend maybe just a brainstorming session where we just start writing down ideas
Yeah,
and
me too.
then we can
We
kind
can
of.
do that during the next meeting. I'll get a whiteboard.
Because
You know,
we've
whiteboard.
got to cook up some kind of.
Yeah.
promise.
Or even a flip chart.
There's a
Yeah.
flip chart over there.
We can keep the paper
Oh, I love
afterwards.
those things.
We've got to cook up a really tasty
Really big
something to
markers.
give on that street to them that they know what's going on. And you can do the illustrations.
Well, we can
We
get.
could have a lovely
real-
brochure.
We can get real illustrators.
So I think, yeah, so next
Okay.
time we'll come up with we'll have a brainstorming session on the next agenda.
I think it'd be
And we'll vote on a
really,
date. I'm
I
just
think
telling you.
I think it'd be really fun in that, and I don't think the likes of Bisbee has seen anything
I
like this.
agree.
know.
No, it'll
think
be
we should
fun. I'd
really
like
rock-
to incorporate the
rock
puppets
this.
and all kinds of things.
String quartets.
Go viral. That's
Mhm.
what.
Depending on
Will,
what-
will we be able to serve alcohol?
Yeah,
Yes.
they got it in the past. We have to
Oh
get a
my
permit.
God.
Because that's. a
What are
money-
those monster things of champagne that you get at Costco on each table?
Because
Badge on it.
that's a sure moneymaker, always the
I know.
alcohol.
That is
You know the bottle I
margarita
mean?
slushies that come in
Big.
the food-shaped container.
It depends upon the food we
theme
choose.
of,
Yeah, there we go.
I think
New
this is going to
Orleans.
be, I think this is going to be a rocking event.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so does that sound good?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah, it is.
Anybody have anything else they want to add? Well, it'll be on the next one, so we,
Waitresses on roller skates.
it's an
It's
ongoing
actually a really nice segue to item 7.
Item 7.
discussion regarding a Bisbee Arts repository.
And
Wait,
most people
so-
don't know what that, what
I
I
was
No, we
gonna
don't.
ask, I don't know what that
It's
means.
not the
Sounds
same
rude.
as a
This
suppository.
was a question that Marie Minor had for you, right? About having a place.
This is a perfect one for Marie
Let me
Minor. Where is she when
discuss,
we
let
need
me,
her?
let me discuss what it is that I was trying to suggest. So I'll take the
Oh,
mic
this
for a
is your
moment.
agenda
Take
item.
it.
I was thinking, I didn't put that on there.
No, this is mine.
Uh,
So the art, it's also a registry, it's a repository registry. Do we already have a centralized location, like a lot of communities, and especially metropolises have, where if I were to come to town and I wanted to hire a quartet, that I could be able to find this information at a site that is the Bisbee Arts Commission
that's
site,
really
Bisbee's Arts Registry. And so it would be encouraging hire an artist would be so people would then go to that site and they could hire an artist to paint a mural. They could hire an artist to
Play a harp.
play a harp. They can hire an artist to come and work with kids. They could hire an artist.
Clowns.
So with that kind of a repository of information, what would be on that is what's significant, and who would be the person that would put this thing initially together. Once it's put together, it asks for basic stuff like the name, the medium the person works in, or multiple mediums. Is it visual or is it performance? Maybe both. And are they available for commissions? Are they available for performances? What is their rate? What is their minimum charge? If it's an artwork, what is their their low end and high end on their, selling, a brief statement from them, a vitae, which would list no more than 20 events that they have participated in or awards they received or whatever, and then have visuals, a slideshow, to also have about 20 images that once you go to that person's page or that person's vitae or however we're gonna lay this thing out, you would be able to see a slideshow of what they do. And then, obviously the contact information. Nothing is for sale on the site. It's
Right.
not a for selling site. It's really just a registry.
That's
Right.
great.
So,
And it's probably a job that needs to be hired to be done, because it's really time consuming. And I don't know that's where we really kind of get into this. Do we have a budget to?
well, the
Do
craft,
we have
the
somebody
craft
to
school
put
has,
together?
has a registry.
Right.
And just from my personal experience, this is what happened. It's still there, you can
Mhm.
go, it says Cochise County Artists and Craftspeople Registry.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave them people a basic form and the ability to, I don't even think I took pictures because I was hoping to just link to other people's website. It was, most people did not have a website,
Right.
so that was a little, most people
That's why we have
are not
to-
very
yeah.
technologically
Right.
advanced, so they couldn't send me
Right.
pictures. It's there, but I will say it was very time consuming, just in the basic, and I had it, I think pretty successfully laid out, so it was just like a form and you fill it
Fill
out,
it,
sends
put
it
it
to me
in,
and then I
yeah.
throw it on there. But it's still, it's something
Clunky.
we need,
Yeah.
but
It could be,
It's a big
it could
job.
be
it's
in
a
a
big
hard.
job.
It either could be, it would be obviously easiest if it were put up online, accessible to everybody. It also could be, hard copies, physical, but that's just really, really cumbersome. And I know that it's useful because I have used them many times when I've done events where I've gone to the city of Phoenix and said, okay, I need a cellist, or
Right.
I need and I want to find somebody. It is very useful.
But do we find somebody who's qualified to put this together and pay that?
That's what I'm saying. It would probably have to be somebody that we
I think so.
have to have a close handle on.
You're gonna have to think.
I
of
would say the next step would be find out what the rate is, because you need somebody who can build
Yes.
the web pages.
Yes.
We also need to ask the legality of linking it to the city's website. I think it would, I
Yeah,
don't,
where would it
Huh?
live
That's
after
not a
it's
problem.
done?
it's not a problem.
How would people know about it?
We have the
and find
Bisbee
it?
Arts
And it has to
Commission.
be locked, so that not everybody can just automatically get onto
Yes.
it. It has to be, you have to go
So it
through
would
us
be
to
linked to what, Bisbee's,
The AC.
We have a webpage.
Yeah, it would be through
It's
the
very
DAC.
basic, it just says our names,
Well, it
and
would.
when our meeting is.
And that goes perfectly, it should be, that's what it should be.
And I suspect that we possibly could find some, but again, would have to be watched fairly closely. Once we come up with hire someone to do the page for us
Yes.
professionally,
Yes.
and maybe that's like a Liz Ann or somebody. But it could be somebody, I don't know, somebody who might be in an apprentice situation or an internship. Over at the Douglas High School, they have the school to work program in 17 careers. And one of them is in web design and things like that, and they've got graphic designers, and we could make this a part of an art project or an internship that if we start to offer, if we get to the point where we have enough money to offer a scholarship, that we hire an intern, and that intern, that money is basically scholarship money. I don't know where we can get that idea. It's
I
really,
like-
It's a great
I like the-
idea.
I like the
It's just
idea.
It's a lot of work.
hours.
I
It's
like
a
the
lot of
idea of
hours.
Lizanne, I like the
It
idea
is.
of Lizanne being involved in the sense
I
that
spent like 100 hours,
If we-
Yes,
probably on
yes.
not that many people.
And I feel like we'd be using our money to hire somebody to chase down everybody's stuff. That would be the majority
so
of
we'd
the
have-
work would
yeah,
be,
just-
you didn't send me your images, I don't have your bio, so then we're paying.
But once we get to that point where we have an active registry, then it becomes very worthwhile to all of the artists in the community. They recognize the significance of being part of the registry. So it does
it's
really,
more
it's
than
really
one
hard to
person.
get started.
It's more than one person.
Yeah, but you can see we're like, right now, we're sitting here as a Bisbee Arts Commission, and because we know our town really well, we can start imagining who's gonna help us
Right.
with our event.
Right.
Yeah, and
I would say-
Cochise College.
And we don't
too,
necessarily
would be
need
a-
it because we know each other that well, but I think our community is kind of changing a little bit.
Oh, yes.
So,
Well, there's a lot of people who, I know, I start spouting off artist names, and I didn't realize that people don't know who I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm like that crazy
Right.
old lady.
crazy old art lady.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great idea. I think the next step would be to find, if we could get an intern, I think that would make it a lot more possible, at least in the
Yeah.
beginning. Find somebody who needs to volunteer.
You,
Cause I can't imagine that Bridget or Lizanne
No,
are
they
gonna
can't
be
get away.
affordable.
no.
Well, there's that.
I could do it, but I'm not
There's
going, it's
that.
just too.
No, it's too much.
Yeah,
We
I
need what I'm
think-
saying is it needs to be
Cochise
higher.
College would be a good place to
Cochise
start.
College.
It's pretty, the website, the basic, it's pretty basic, that's the nice thing, it's just a form, but it depends
You know.
on how the city's webpage is built, and like, 'cause I use Squarespace, which is like kind of idiot-proof, but their website is built differently, and so we'd have to have somebody who had a pretty good understanding of website design.
What is that? I can't remember the name of it, but there's a thing, there's a Bisbee website that's put together by a really nice lady with blonde hair, I forget her name. Is it a Bisbee Weekly or Bisbee Visitor? There is
No,
some
we
kind
have
of
so
a-
many different
so-
things, it's all very
There's somebody,
convoluted.
well, I'll
And that's
have to
gonna be
kind
our
of track
job
into
as
it,
well,
because
I
that's
think.
somebody I have a feeling that is already in there, involved and very competent and giving.
Yeah, I'm not worried about competent, I think there's a lot of people that could do it, I just don't wanna pay $25 an
No,
hour.
I don't either, and I
Well,
think,
she-
I'm
her
gonna tell
thing
you
is free.
again,
What she puts on is free, so.
15-year-old responsible young girls, when I opened my gallery, or when I was first working as director of a gallery and the owners of the gallery wouldn't pay for an employee for me, I said, do you mind if I pay for my own? Because I really need help to continue to do what I do, so I can make money, because I was on commission partly. And so I went to the high school and I just talked to the business teacher and said, give me the
Good
one
idea.
shining star in your class,
Do
and
we
that girl
each have
ended
one?
up working for me for 10 years.
Totally.
Wow.
That's
So
a good
if you
story.
can I mean, you.
Are you
some-
willing to look
yeah,
at that,
I'm
so that'd
willing
be
to.
awesome, so that would be great.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
it's just, again, somebody has to oversee. I
Somebody
mean,
has to
an
oversee
intern
that
is only
person,
as
and then that
valuable.
person
Mhm.
gets replaced probably the next year by somebody else. I mean, it could be that, but once it's built, it's really just an ongoing maintenance
Yeah.
thing, yeah, exactly. Anyway, just a thought.
It's
It
super.
would help us out right
Who-
now
who
in
is
this
it?
moment
Who
when we
edits-
could say, oh,
who
there's
edits
this
your
balloon artist
website?
named Poe.
Who work, you do, oh, you kids do everything. How hard is it to do things like that, to add a form to it, or,
We've got a wizard.
but one of those automatic forms where you can actually fill it out when you go on there, instead of printing it off?
We can do fillable forms. The only thing is that we can't do yet, that I haven't figured out, is how to email it to the address that it needs to go, so they'd have to save it and then email it to whoever it needed to go to.
Okay,
You know what I
instead
mean? It
of-
wouldn't automatically go to where it
Mine's
needs to
just
go.
like a submit.
Right, we don't have that quite yet.
Okay.
I'm still working on fillable forms.
Yeah, as long as it's something that's I mean, you want something
And we
automatic.
might be surprised by how easy this is for somebody of that age that, already is
Right.
doing that kind of whatever.
No, that
So-
sounds great.
And I will look into it, but that's.
It's a lot easier than it used to be because of Google,
Yeah.
You can do a lot of research right there. On a lot of us.
No, I think it's a really important thing, and when I first came to town, I asked the same question, I was like, so where do I find out where the artists are? And somebody said, go to the mine tour and look at the book, and I was like, what? And they're like, there's a book there, so there is still a book to this day, probably, and
Really?
half the people are
Dead.
dead, and a lot of people are missing.
So it used to be done, see, we're just.
There was a book,
Yeah.
probably some arts commission did it, and then it just sort of faded out, so.
Well, once you gather all of the artists, which we will do fairly quickly, because artists know other artists, and we'll just have that, it's not every artist wants to,
Be for hire, be for,
right,
be for,
artist for hire.
for book.
Exactly. So. But maybe.
All right, so item 8.
Oh, that's
Oops.
fine, I apologize.
So agenda items for next time, does anybody have anything to add?
Yes, I think we need to look at the logo situation and see.
We are voting on the logo situation
It's
next
been
time.
coming in,
Do we have anything? We have
Yeah.
one so far.
because it's August the
I put up some
31st.
flyers, I was gonna ask if anybody, I was gonna send you the flyer that I have, maybe you could print
We
more
only
off.
had one,
Just send it to me too.
No, I'm saying I'm gonna send her the file I have.
but I mean, we only had one submission.
It's the only
Central
one I've
School,
received.
actually, when we did the application, we had one for like a month and a half, and then the last day, everybody turned it in.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not really too worried about that, but we do
But
need
I
to get it
did-
out more.
Break it up in the newspaper, so it was 2 times in July and it'll be 2 times in August, that it's gonna be put in the paper.
But Nina was willing to maybe print off some more. Would anybody love the job of putting up more flyers?
I'll put up
This-
flyers.
Okay. So I'll send that to you in the next couple days, and then she can pick
Just
them
send me how
up.
many you want.
Yeah,
And then just
And
let
then
me
just
know
come
when to
in.
come pick them up, yeah.
yeah, I'll email you the,
Okay.
So next agenda items, we're gonna vote on the logo. If we don't have any that we think are appropriate, we don't have to pick one, I don't think.
We want one.
We do want one, but I'm not willing, I mean, we don't wanna switch one we
No,
don't
we're-
like for one we don't
No,
like.
no.
Yeah, we're in no hurry, right?
And it's good too, I mean, we're paying $150, that actually is what Bridget charged me a little bit more, but not much. So tell artists that you like in town, you
I
know,
have been doing that
yeah, I mean,
around the coffee shop.
yeah. So people like, I mean, Larry Miller probably charges a whole lot more than that, but just different people like that do
But maybe
graphic
they would
design.
like to
I've
have
been
their work
pushing on
be
that,
there.
I've been
Yeah.
pushing on them for sure.
So it's good to mention that to people.
I understand.
And I will send out I need to send out another email about it, which I should write down before I forget that. Does somebody have a pen I can borrow just for a moment?
I just came without a pen.
Go, go.
So we're gonna be voting on the logo, and we're going to be voting on the date. I'll look through and see but we're thinking the first weekend, you know?
Mhm.
And then we can continue our discussion about our fundraiser for the Bisbee Arts Commission. That'll be the main things. Is there anything else I'm forgetting?
And that's the date for the dinner and the kite festival, or just the dinner?
Oh, they're together now.
Oh, they're together now, I'm
We're gonna
sorry.
we're gonna hang the kites as part of it.
Okay, I got you now, sorry about
Yeah.
that.
And then we'll vote on the new application. Okay? Does that sound good? All right. Do I have a motion?
I move to adjourn this meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All ayes?
Aye.
Any nays? Good night.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.